And our fourth speaker tonight, is Dr. Saleh Shibel. Dr. Shibel is a faculty member in the marketing department at KVPM Business School. He has taught many undergraduate as well as MBA and executive MBA program courses at KVPM. Dr. Saleh has also been involved in consulting services for many companies and government organizations, and frequently mentors startups in the entrepreneurial institute at KVPM. He is also highly engaged in different social activities in KVPM and outside. So Dr. Saleh, welcome, and the floor is yours.
Okay, so do you see the screen?
Yes, we do.
Okay, assalamu alaikum jami'an. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. I'm very honored today to be with you to share my humble experience, and I thank KVPM for their support and opportunity to present this experience with you all. I call my presentation Creating Lions in the Classroom. I do believe my students become lions, and I'll show you how. How this got started a long time ago, probably some 10 years ago, I started experimenting with things, running small experiments. One of these experiments, we had a small YouTube project where I asked students, hey, and these were principles of marketing course. So I asked them, listen, take any concept in marketing or anything about it and just create a small video about it and make it creative. And that's it. And the students came up with a bunch of great videos with varying differences, of course. Then I said, you know what, let's take it to the next level. Let's launch a competition. And the team that wins, has the highest views and likes, is going to get a grade bump. And then it went mad. And the winning team, we had a team that scored like 100,000 views. You're talking about like 10 years ago, YouTube at that time. And I even recall one of the students, after achieving like 20,000 views, he celebrated it with his family with a cake. He sent me a picture of that cake. So moving on, this was a cartoon I've come across years ago, and it's a bit controversial. So here's a graduate from a university to HR, and she's telling him here, I see you did well in school, but what real world skills do you have? And he says, tests. I can take tests. Now, I know this is a very controversial topic in academia, and I'm sure this is in itself could linger a lot in discussion, but there's some kind of merit to it in terms of real world skills. So I want to take you fast forward a little. One of my friends got in touch with me with an engagement with a nonprofit organization that we have in Khubar here. And he said, can you guys help out in your project, whatever you guys are doing? And I go, well, I don't know, let's see. So we met them. And this nonprofit is a well-known nonprofit in the kingdom and in the Eastern region. And they care about low-income families. And part of the project was about trying to, they create crafts like food and sewing, etc. And we wanted to create for them what we call an integrated marketing communications plan with some research forefront. So we went ahead and I said this, okay, well, let's go and experiment. I don't know what's going to happen, but let's go ahead. And so we did. And it was a terrific experience for the students. At the end, they presented their findings, and the nonprofit was very happy about it. They gave them certificates. The people you see here today are all in the marketplace, and some of them, mashallah, hold high positions. And as I was talking to the university, they said, hey, what are you doing here? This is service learning. Oh, okay, I didn't know that was what it was called. So, and they could get actually credit hours because they're serving the community here. And so I sent them the list of the names of the students and the number of hours they worked on, and so it's always like a win-win-win thing that was for them was just unprecedented. This was a message I got from some of them. So here, Faris, I think, says, I wanted to tell you that one of the projects developing the IMC plan that we worked on in one of your courses got a company interested in me after I added it to my CV. They told me that this project is exactly why they called me in the first place. So then he gives a word of wisdom to my future students. The next time your students complain about the huge workload, just show them this message and remind them that this project might be what will earn them that dream job. Another student here says, I'll go quickly through this. So I went through a lot of job interviews and more than 60% of the interview was about the project. And this was something I was proud of and admired, and that was admired by the interviews. So taking it to the real world through experiential learning, IBL, and what have you. So in this course, we had a plan. So we start with research, go through the campaign strategy as a plan, and that's more than enough, okay? But then I said, you know what? Let's execute. Let's launch whatever you guys have on paper. Let's see it on the ground. So we went through execution. I didn't know what to expect. And so the students started working on this, and I didn't even know what would they do. But hey, you know, you've got this on paper. Show us what you could do on the ground. And we started launching these campaigns for these small businesses, whether they're coffee shops, game stores, restaurants, etc. In one instance, we also worked with some nonprofits to tackle some charity donations with a campaign title of Change Your Life. The newspaper, the local newspaper in the Eastern region, Al-Yom, happened to come across this and they liked what we were doing, and they even had it on the newspaper. So we continued doing this stuff, and students got engaged in what we call the real world. How does it turn what we have on paper to what we see on the ground? How much of it does it really apply? And so the experience was just amazing. But of course, it comes with everything, as you could imagine. So I modified the syllabus, and I started having a slogan for my courses saying, don't just take this course, but live it, live the course. And now I have it as a slogan for most of my courses as live it. So proceeding forward, this was like another of the campaigns that the students have for one of the apps. They even went through the whole university and distributed all these things. I would get complaints from everywhere about what are your students doing. Here was another campaign for an app that was for water. They used the drone, and they used movies, and they used the elevators, etc. So you could imagine the amount of troubles we got into, but it was amazing. They won an award through the Marketing Association in the Kingdom, and they got certificates and all of that, and they were just very happy about it, and they became lions. This is in Arabic, I'm sorry. This is the CEO of that app replying to a post about them winning the award, and just thanking the students one by one. And he's just telling me here, hey, please, where can we get these great minds? Can you please bring us more like this? So as we started working more and more with small businesses and small organizations, we started getting feedback from them per our request, and they would send us letters on telling us of how the students have done in these campaigns and work that they've done with them. Now, mind you, when they tell us these things, Not everything they say is all great and it's all wonderful. They say the good things, but they also tell us where we went wrong and how can we improve and what we can do better. So it's a continuous learning that we go through. And it's not always good news. So I'll tell you a story. So in one of the campaigns we had, we had a team that was working with one of the stores, and all throughout the semester, in their strategy and in their research, they were working with the branch manager. And what happened was the branch manager happens to be different from the owner of the store. So then all of a sudden, now it's time to launch the campaign. Suddenly, the students come to me and their faces look blackened and something's gone wrong. What happened? And they say, well, the store manager got fired. And I go, okay, I hope it wasn't you that caused this. And it was like, they were worried now because this thing is graded, right? There's grades and there's a big chunk of grading that goes into this. Don't worry about the grades now. You're going through a real experience. Welcome to the real world. This stuff happens. And this is stuff that we want you to get trained on. Now I want you to tell me, what did you learn from all this? Where did you go wrong? If you were to repeat all this again, what would you do different? Give me those details. So it's okay to make mistakes. We all do. But this is the way we learn. We learn by doing mistakes. As I also go through this, it's important to mention that I learn from this process as much as they do, because I live with them that experience, and we get to see what these small businesses and these organizations go through, and how can we be part of what's happening, and how can we share our knowledge, and how can they help us. And so it's a combined learning experience that we all share. And the students teach me stuff here. No, like, this is the way this thing should go. And this is how we think, because that's what we saw, and so on and so forth. So it's a different learning experience. Zoom in here in one of the reports. And one of the things I sometimes do, I'm not so good at this, but I'm still learning, is giving feedback. And sometimes I would give them a score and then ask them, okay, so here's your score, but you know what? It's not the end of the world. You can get a better score if you fix these things. So go fix them. And students usually like better scores, so they'll go ahead and fix them. Of course, I use this sparingly whenever possible. Into experimentation again, one of the semesters, and this was like towards halfway through the semester, and I told students, hey, listen, why don't you guys create an ad for a brand? Anything. I'll just give you a week. Nothing fancy, just give me something. And then I threw it out there, and the next class, students showed me what they've got. So then here's one student here, Faisal, created this video ad for a well-known brand here called Ndumi. And so I shared it on my social media, on my Twitter account. And guess what happened then? The brand Ndumi replied to us saying, hey, this guy deserves a full grade. So engaging with brands on social media, at least in my view, didn't get any better. And of course, the student was very happy about it. Now, as I want to wrap up here, there are many things I could talk about besides experiential learning and IBL. We've implemented the Reflections Journal, which is a kind of e-portfolio, and it has a wonderful way of storytelling that the student goes through, telling us his story throughout the course. It's like a diary for them. Having high-value assignments, other experimental activities, workshops, pop presentations instead of pop quizzes, and other things that I tried to implement between one time and another. So why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? We're doing this for them and for the future and for us. This gives them and turns on curiosity. It builds teamwork, critical thinking, creativity, problem solving, grit, leadership, confidence and courage and empowerment and meaning and purpose. I recall in one of the projects, there was a time where I got into a fight with the team, to a point where I told that team, listen, quit this thing. There's just way too much noise and trouble. Just quit, okay? And let's just get it done with. And what do you think happened? The team replied and they said, no, we won't quit. We will continue and we will do what we can, given all the challenges we've come across. So when I thought it was time to quit, they saw it differently. I began learning from them. So I'm going to wrap up very quickly here. Some final feedback here from another student. He says, personally, I learned in these 2 months that I applied in more than I learned in the last 4 years I spent in the university. All these things I used to know theoretically, but in the first trial I failed and I had to learn through mistakes. The experience in this course was engaging, which was difficult to forget. Here, one of my previous students, who's now a general manager, he says, understanding the main concepts and gaining academic knowledge is very important to understand any course. However, what helped the most in my work and professional life was the practical knowledge and experiences which I gained from the projects and the group work. I got accepted in all my interviews after graduation because of the projects that he did. I also gained many skills. This helped sharpen my soft skills, which actually happened to be the hard skills. They also built a lot of confidence and gave me a lot to talk about, It's the power of stories. When these young men go for job interviews or to go to the marketplace, and they ask them to talk, what will they talk about? These are the stories they can talk about, and they've got plenty to talk about. At the end, I think our job here is to open doors, for the future of our students, for them to explore it and to get a sense of this real world that we keep talking about. It's a tough world out there, and we are trying to just engage them through all these things. So at the end, let those lions roar to amplify this impact that matters and tell their stories. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.